All right, what I want to do now is go through the assignments. All right. Go through the assignments. Oops, I think I may have, for some reason, I think I may have closed that. So let me open that again. What? Let's see. All right. What's happening? Okay, let's bring this up again. Restore Learning Hub. For some reason, I accidentally closed that. Hopefully it comes up soon. Okay, here it is. So in assignment 3, Mann-Whitney you test. Okay, so here's assignment 3. You have 3 problems here. Okay. Again, you know, problem 1 is straightforward, where you are asked to describe one scenario, research scenario for the independent sample t-test, and another scenario for the Mann-Whitney u-test. Right, so that's fairly straightforward. Okay. In your description, again, make sure you provide sufficient detail. Make sure you identify very, very clearly what the groups are and what your dependent variables are. Okay. All right, so in number 2, the cholesterol level, here, there's a data set they call cholesterol level. Okay. So data set they call cholesterol level, which is...
Dr. Kajai.
Yes.
I can't see your screen.
You can't see my screen?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
What about everyone else?
I can see it.
Yeah, it is still under share mode. So, Sharon, can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Honey, can you see my screen? Kiri?
Yes, I see.
Okay. So, Gilbert, it must be something with your thing there.
Okay, let me try. I don't think this.
Okay. So in problem 2, there is a data set called cholesterol level in Learning Hub. And that's the one that, and I say Moodle here. It's, I don't know what I was thinking, but ignore that Moodle. Well, it is Moodle. It's Learning Hub is actually Moodle. So, but I think a lot of people don't know that Learning Hub is actually Moodle. So yeah, so this is that data set you want to look at. And in here, you want to compare the cholesterol level of vegetarian versus non-vegetarian, right? So if you click that, so this is what you have. Okay. So you've got, these are the groups. You go to variable view. Group 1's are the vegetarian, group 2 are the non-vegetarian, and here are the cholesterol level, okay, measured cholesterol measurement. Yeah. So these are cholesterol level. So again, if you follow through what we did earlier in the independent sample t-test, then this should be fairly straightforward. Okay. Make sure you test for normality, right? And then run your independent sample t-test. Okay.
Not the Mann-Whitney U-test?
Well, it depends. Okay. That's why I said check for your normality.
And that's where we do analyze descriptive skewness.
Yes.
And if it's between plus and minus 1, it's normal.
Right.
So then we do the independent.
Then you do your independent sample t-test.
Okay.
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 All right.
Yes.
Okay. And then question 3, there is a data set there.
This one seems a lot more complicated.
Yeah. So there's a data set here called the value 2 data. Yeah. So the value 2 data, and there's the value 2 data here. So that's the one you want to use. Okay, and this is the one that is going to take you probably a little bit more time. Because here you have 3 dependent variables. First, you want to create a family climate scale using Q174 to Q178. And a spiritual maturity scale Q1 to Q12. Okay. Using the appropriate statistical test, determine if there are statistically significant differences in family climate, spiritual maturity, and depression. 202, between those who were sexually abused and those that were not sexually abused. Okay.
There isn't, I don't think there is a depression group, was there?
Well, there is a depression question there.
Oh, in the abused one or in the family?
Well,
Or find it.
let's look at the data.
Okay.
Okay, here is your data. Okay, here is your data. So you have, these are your variable V. Okay. So here is,
Oh, Q202.
okay.
Is that data set we had before? I'm not sure.
This is a data that you should be familiar with because you had something similar to this.
Something similar. Okay, but it's not the same. Okay.
It's not the same.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I'm under the impression everything that's asked in the actual problem is already in the data set. Is that correct?
Say that again.
Everything that the problem, the narrative, the problem asks is already in the data set, is it?
It is in the data set, but you have to do in problem 3, you have to do some manipulation.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
You have to do some manipulation. So first of all, okay, so you need to identify the So here is your spiritual maturity items. So this is your spiritual maturity. Okay?
Yes.
And then here is your family climate. Right?
Yes.
Okay. And then here is your sexual abuse. And then here is your depression.
So would you say there's 4 dependent variables?
How many dependent variables do you have?
Well, I was thinking spiritual, family, depressed, and abused.
Is it?
Well,
Look at what your problem says. Here you want to compare,
We're comparing just the sexually abused and
you want to compare those, you want to compare
groups.
those who have been sexual abused versus those who have not on depression, spiritual maturity, and family climate. Right?
oh, okay.
So what you want to do is you want to create 2 groups. Okay? You want to create 2 groups. Okay? These are the sexually abused, not abused. And you want to compare them on depression, spiritual maturity, and family climate. So you have 3 dependent variables that you want to compare them on. Right?
Oh, yes. I don't know if this, what I was trying to do, it wasn't working, but there are some missing values in, I think it was the spiritual maturity, like people didn't answer them.
Yeah, that's fine.
That doesn't, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think what I was trying to do, I was taking all the spiritual maturity questions and I made a new group called spiritual maturity. And then I was going to average all the questions together and rank them. So like I was creating a new variable.
Well,
So,
that's exactly what you're supposed to do.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem to run the data when I had missing categories.
Well, it actually will take care of that.
Okay.
This data is actually, I believe this is mostly, I mean, there's some missing values, but there shouldn't be a lot of missing values. Yeah. Most of these, I mean, there's only a handful that have missing. So, but those shouldn't matter too much. Okay, so so what do we do with this? Okay. So there are several things we have to create. Okay, we have to create the grouping variable first, right? Because the abuse consists of never, right? And you've actually done this before in assignment 1, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Okay, where you had to recategorize, people who have been abused versus not abused. So you've done this. Okay. So the never, you code it as 0, and the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that means this, you code this as 1. So this represent not abused, and this represent those have been abused. So you know how to do this, right?
This is where we get to compute.
No, this is where you do your transform and recode.
Transform and recode, yeah.
Okay. So if you've forgotten how to do that, then you need to go back to an earlier lesson. I'm just telling you what you need to do. So you need to go back to how to actually do that, because this is something that you've already done. Okay. So that's the grouping variable. So how do you create the family climate scale? Okay. The family climate scale, that's where you go to transform, right? And compute. So you can create a new variable called family climate, and which is the mean of items Q174 to Q178. So if you do family climate is equal to mean, parenthesis Q174 to Q178, and click OK, then it creates a new variable called family climate, and let's label that as family climate scale. Okay, and you do the same thing for spiritual maturity. So you go to transform, reset, spiritual maturity. Okay, let's call mean Q1 to Q12. Okay, click OK. And you now have a new variable called spiritual maturity. That's spiritual maturity scale. Now that you've done all of this, you're now ready to do your analyses. Okay. So your dependent variable here then is family climate. Okay. It's family climate, spiritual maturity, and depression. So you have 3 dependent variables. Okay. So check for normality, and then you decide whether to use the independent sample t-test or the Mann-Whitney u-test. All right.
So which one is our independent variable?
Which one do you think? What does your assignment? Now read that assignment. What does it say?
Use the value.
What's the independent variable?
Okay, I can't really see all of it on my screen.
I mean, what groups are you trying to compare?
2 groups. 2 groups. One who was abused and one who was not.
Right.
So that's the independent variable. Okay.
So your independent variable then is your abuse group, right? That's your independent variable.
Mhm.
Right?
Okay.
And I have given you a sample table for problems 2 and 3.
Mhm.
So please don't, hand us assignments with cut and paste SPSS output,
Yes.
because automatically we will take 10% off from your grades.
But it's okay to put them in a new table.
Well, I mean, I just don't want you to cut and paste. In other words,
Yeah.
see the sample table I gave you today, showed you today, all right?
You made it.
Yes, you
Yeah.
made the table,
Okay. Good.
all right? Okay. All right, so this is this week's lessons. I just want you to look over next week's lessons. Next week's lesson is comparing 3 or more groups, which is really an extension of the independent sample t-test. The independent sample t-test compares 2 groups. What if you have 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 groups, right? So that's what we want to do next week. So please read that. Okay. Please read through begin with the week 7 to-do list, right? Begin with that, because that tells you what to read, what to watch, and what to do. Okay. So I think by now you see, the to-do list every week is what should you read, okay? What should you watch, and then what should you do, which basically are doing the quizzes and the assignments, and when they are due. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. I will have this video. There'll be 3 videos tonight because I, had them in separate, otherwise they become too long. Yeah. So take time to watch the video, class video, if you need to review what we went through.
So you mean this video will be in 3 different videos? Will be 3 different ones?
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah. So it will be 3 different parts.
Okay.
But all of that will be posted in this week's lessons, which is the week 6 lessons.
Yes. Okay.
All right. So all of that videos will be. So it will be here probably later tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. So once again, if you have, questions about, related to this thing, make sure you write them in the discussion forum or email us directly, or so don't stay in limbo and keep wondering what you need to do. So Rochelle and I are here to assist, and so reach out. Pay attention to your assignments. Rochelle and I provide comments to your assignments, so look at those comments and learn from those. Yeah. And some of you have asked about redoing your assignments, resubmitting your assignments, and so when should you redo your assignments? And what Rochelle and I have decided, and what I've actually decided, is if you get anything less than 90%, you may wish to or not. If you have 85%, you probably don't want to redo it, but you could if you want to. Yeah. But if you already have 90%, you have 94, please don't ask to redo again, because you essentially have an A work already. So
I just want to make sure I understand what you said regarding A0A or A0, the first 2 assignments.
yeah, the first two assignments, those were just prerequisites, so they are really not included in your grade configuration.
Oh, okay, because I see them there when I check my grade and they impact.
No, it's not going to be, you know, when I calculate it, it's not going to be computed.
Okay,
In learning habit, it is.
yeah, okay, and B will not be there. Well, if the grade is really good, it can stay, right?
Well, no, I mean, I actually will not include that for everyone.
Okay,
So what counts will be assignments 1 through 8 or 9, I think it is.
I see, okay.
So 0A and 0B will not be,
Will not come. Okay,
right?
all right,
Okay,
yes.
good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
All right. Good night. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.